Talking about aging and care with family members can be one of the most difficult conversations to have. No one wants to think about losing independence, and families often avoid the subject until a crisis happens. But early conversations can lead to better decisions and stress for everyone involved. We want people to stress less. And so in this lesson, we're going to talk about how to start the conversation, common communication barriers, and how to create a care plan together as a family. So let's get started. I want to share a story about a woman named Susan. Her father, James, was fiercely independent. Whenever she brought up the idea of getting help at home, he would brush it off and say, "You know what, Susan, I'm fine." Susan didn't push the conversation until James had a fall, and suddenly decisions that needed to be made had to be made under pressure. So what happened if they had talked earlier? What if there would have been a plan? Unfortunately, this scenario is all too common, but we can change that by having conversations sooner rather than later. So now let's discuss how to approach these conversations in a way that fosters understanding and cooperation. So the question is why do seniors resist talking about care? Before starting the conversation, it really helps to understand why seniors push back. One is the loss of control. They fear that accepting help means losing their independence. The other one is a denial of decline. Some seniors just don't realize or don't want to admit that they need help. The other one is negative associations. You see, they associate home care with assisted living and in nursing homes and believe that it means losing everything. And then finally, it's really about pride and privacy. You see, many parents don't want their children taking care of them. So instead of focusing on what they need, focus on what they value. The right conversation isn't about getting care, it's about maintaining their best quality of life. So now what I'd like to do is talk about a 3-step approach to talking about senior care. So with step 1, set the stage for success. You see, timing and environment matter more than you think. A rushed conversation or forced conversation can cause immediate resistance. So pick a neutral time and place and avoid discussing care during a crisis. A relaxed setting like a quiet lunch or a car ride makes the conversation feel a lot more natural. And also use a trigger event. For example, bring up care in response to something relevant. So let's talk about a specific example. Someone might say, "You know what? I read an article about home care and it made me think about you, Dad." Or, "Hey, Mom, I helped a friend find a caregiver and you know what? I noticed that it really improved their life." Make it about someone else. People are less defensive when they're discussing others. So for example, one thing that you could say is, "You know, Dad, a friend's dad fell at home last month and it really made me think, do you ever feel unsteady while you're walking around the house?" Now, what you don't want to do is bring up care when your parent is already stressed, they're already frustrated or distracted. The other thing that you don't want to do is don't frame it as a decision they must make today. Let it be open-ended. Let it be a conversation that just flows naturally. Step number 2, guide the conversation naturally. How you phrase things determines whether your parent is open or resistant. So instead of saying, "Hey, Dad, you need help," let's guide the conversation with an open-ended, non-threatening questions as an alternative. So here are better ways to start the conversation. "Hey, Dad, how do you feel about staying at home as you get older?" Another thing you could ask is, Hey, Mom, is there anything that would make your daily routine easier?" Another thing you could ask is, "You know, have you ever thought of getting some extra help around the house?" See, these questions give them control over the discussion and allow them to voice their concerns instead of reacting defensively. Now, what not to say is this: "You're not safe living alone, Dad." For them, it feels like an attack. Another thing that you don't want to say is, "Hey, Mom, you need to get help." For them, it feels like an order. What you don't want to do is say, "Hey, we're hiring a caregiver and we're going to do that for you, okay?" That means that you're taking away control, okay? So don't do those things. Now, step number 3, plant the seed and give them time. You see, most seniors won't agree to care immediately, and that's okay. okay. Instead of pressuring them, plant the idea now and then revisit it over time. So what you want to do is leave room for reflection. End conversations with things like this. Hey dad, let's just talk about it for now. No decisions today. Or, hey mom, hey, we don't have to figure it all out today, but I just want to start exploring options. You just want to introduce small steps first, and if they resist full-time care, you could suggest hiring a caregiver for just a few hours a week just to help with errands or cooking. See, get a third-party opinion. Some seniors respond better to doctors or professionals than family. You know how when you were a lot younger, you had parent deafness. Now they have child deafness. So if they refuse to listen to you, have their physician bring up care needs. You see, the key is to build trust over time. Instead of pushing care, guide them gently to see what the benefits are for themselves. So let's talk about some other examples of right and wrong ways to have the conversations. Another wrong approach. So this is a story about Sarah and Bill. So in this case, this is the wrong way to approach the situation. So Sarah picks up her dad. His name is Bill. She picks him up for lunch. But as soon as he gets in the car, she says, "Dad, we need to talk. I don't think it's safe for you to live alone. You need home care." Quite naturally, Bill frowns and he says, "I don't need no stinking babysitter, and I'm not moving anywhere." And Sarah says, "But you keep forgetting your medication and you almost fell last week." And Bill says, "I am fine." So what went wrong with that conversation? Well, Sarah made it sound like a decision was already made for her dad, and Bill felt defensive and powerless. So what did he do? He pushed back quite naturally. So now let's talk about the right approach. Now, in this case, Sarah figured out this was the right way. So Sarah and Bill take a walk in the park this time, and she waits for a relaxed moment before bringing up the topic. "Hey dad, I was thinking about how Uncle Joe hired a caregiver last year, and he wasn't sure about it at first, but now he really enjoys having someone help out. Have you ever thought about something like that?" And Bill responds, "Well, no, not really. I don't think I need it yet." So Sarah said, "Yeah, I get that, but if there was one thing that would make daily life easier for you, what would it be?" And Bill responds, "I guess cooking has been a little bit harder lately, and driving at night's been a bit stressful." And so Sarah then says, "You know what? That makes sense. What if we found someone who could help out a few hours a week just to see if it makes things easier for you?" And then Bill responds and says, "I guess that wouldn't hurt." So why did this approach work? The reason why is Sarah made the conversation about Bill's comfort and control, not about what she wanted for him. So in the next video, we will give you specific tools to help you better understand what to do when a loved one actively gives you pushback, because obviously not every conversation is going to be rose blossoms, and so we understand that, and we have a realistic approach that will give you some specific ideas. So we will see you in the next video.